I wonder, dude, how big is their team to be able to handle?
Not good, dude. I heard that there's the negative PR that I'm hearing is from Mappa is like they're doing, JJK. They're doing Attack on Titan, and it's just like people are worrying like the crunch over there, and we mentioned this, the crunch that animators have already is something to be alarmed about. I think the whole crunch mentality is very toxic, a personal opinion of mine, and just seeing it take effect from a real world scenario, being our friend Shane. I'll bleep that out. I don't want to, but you know what I'm talking about. And his kind of toxic crunch experience and what he went through makes me very, very apprehensive to that culture, and how I believe like crunch shouldn't be celebrated.
Yeah, I think on the topic of crunch, I'm pretty sure I saw there was some, I think it's a video game studio.
CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk.
Yeah, they're the ones that they're in trouble for the crunch.
Yeah, and this is a person who, outside looking in, didn't catch it till said person kind of read between the lines for me, and their sentence is like, none of our employees have obligatory crunch. What the hell was I saying right now? Obligatory crunch. They're not obligated to crunch. Now, when I read that, I was like, okay, but if you read between the lines, they're not obligated. That does not mean they are coerced and or peer pressured and or forced. From what I was told is, yeah, that's not required of you, but if you don't do it, then you're going to get passed up, like the promotions, the raises, because everyone else is doing it. So in order for you to keep up with the pace of the company, the other people are like, instead of you working your 8 hours, going home, like you feel bad for going home because you're getting guilt tripped because everyone else is doing 12 hours. So it's not obligated, but it's expected in a way, Does that make sense?
It's not said, but
it's like kind of like that CEO
it's unsaid,
double speak kind of way. Yeah, unsaid.
Yeah.
Slimy. So, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate. And it shows in the product. I really liked Cyberpunk when it came out. A lot of it was the honeymoon. And I think a lot of it was just like they did a good job in the theme of Cyberpunk, which I'm a huge fan of. But the glaring issues do come apart, and do become apparent, I should say, and it broke it broke me at a certain point to where I just quit the game cold turkey. I just stopped, man. I haven't played it, I don't know, in a month at least.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't play the console version.
So yeah, and that's me as a PC player who could handle it. And that's the thing too, dude. It was like, I built this rig this year with like primo shit. Like I'm not running 3080s, but I'm running like 270 Super. I got the Noctua liquid cooling, dude. I got like freaking top of the line stuff, new Mobos, like a 5550 Mobo, and then I'm running Ryzen something, not the 9, I think it was the 7. Like it was not the top tier, but like a step down. But I'm running shit that it should be running flawlessly.
Yeah.
And I was kind of because you hate, as a consumer, you hate to like hear the bad news and stuff like that, but there's no reason that it runs that bad on a console when like Red Dead Redemption 2 can look as beautiful as it did and run on a console that way. So
yeah,
like no excuse.
Sure.
At this point I'm just like, you know what? It's like a salty taste in my mouth too. And I think again it also has to come to the knowing that they had that toxic crunch. And in respect to our mutual friend too, is just like, I kind of hate it, man. It really puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. That is an unfortunate aspect of that industry.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't know, we're actually not talking about anime manga anymore. We're a full video game podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. So rest in peace.
Hard transition.
Hard transition into that. But we'll jump into the We'll leave that as a good spoiler break. How about that? That's a spoiler break. Now this is your warning. We're in the manga section now for Jujutsu Kaisen. So if you haven't read it, hey, this is where you're jumping off. This is where you take off, man. You're done. We'll see you next time on the cast. Just kidding. We hope you actually stay along and don't care about spoilers and just like listening to me and Jordan talk about things because our voices are super soothing and hypnotic, maybe. But yeah, so Jujutsu Kaisen manga. Let's get into the headspace.
I'm still confused.
You're still confused
about the brother situation.
I think this actually shed a massive amount of light onto what's currently happening. So, if we go play by play for Jujutsu Kaisen, right? This week we have again more information, or at least I guess more confusion for some, but at least we have a foreshadowing of what's exactly taking place. It opens up with the eldest brother of the cursed wombs and his blood techniques, which obviously is like top of the line. But he's opening up, as he mentions, he always has his deep connections to his brothers, especially when they're near death, and he had that same feeling when Yuji Itadori was near death. So, of course, to him, Yuji is his younger brother, which we had the big exclamation mark from Yuji himself, which is further than, what's the word I'm looking for? Supported by the Panda Man himself, saying, I'm just asking, but you're not related, right? And Yuji says, no way, he almost killed me earlier. Toto, and then back to the Panda guy, he says, Toto too. Are you giving off freaky pheromones or something? So that, to me, solidifies the theory that is currently in talks between the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom, which is that Yuji Itadori has a passive curse, an innate curse that he is not aware of. We don't know the exact things that need to happen for it to take place, but it might be, if we take into what is the correlation between both Toto and the eldest cursed womb brother, that when Yuji Itadori is in a 1v1 situation and is about to die, some fight or flight curse and or heavenly technique takes place to, as a survival instinct, implant false memories within the people that's about to kill him so they don't kill him. If I was to like boil it down into a simplified version. Now, if we talk about, you mentioned me talk about heavenly techniques. What is a heavenly technique or a heavenly curse? It's one of those words. It is the biggest example. I'm getting so excited. I'm talking fast. The biggest example is that of Maki and the sister, right? So if we understand, the sister of Maki is a cursed weapon user. She has the ability to manipulate objects, cursed weapons, right? She makes them cursed. Well, while Maki has no cursed ability, right? But she has freaky human strength and the ability to wield cursed weapons, right? Does that make sense? Like, you're giving up your curse technique for a physical boost. Like, think of like Rock Lee, you know? Like when they, like you're giving up your jujitsu, you're giving up like this, you don't have this curse ability, but what you do have instead is like an immense physical presence and or, you know, that would be the best way I think I can explain it. Does that make sense to you?
That makes sense.
Okay, so people are, and that would explain why Yuji, you know, as we see in the manga in the early, you know, even in the anime, when he like can like clock that first encounter of that demon with like a punch or two, you know, he's pretty freaking strong. And even in the anime right now, to reinforce that, Megami talks to Maki about the physical prowess of Yuji. He said, if you guys took on Yuji without any curse techniques, Yuji would probably beat all of you. So, with that being said, people are thinking, one, A, either this is a curse, right? B, this is a heavenly curse, heavenly, whatever. It's in that heavenly realm. C, it's both of those things, and the curse was kind of innately placed upon Yuji by his grandfather, who said, whatever you do, don't die alone, die with friends. And that is the current running theory that I'm going all in and putting my chips in for that bet.
I mean, when you explain it like that, like all the pieces line up.
Give me a round of applause. That was a good job. I think that was a good job, bro. That came from my. That's a memory, baby. That's my cursed ability. I just don't know what I looked into my mind right now, but I was in there.
Did you rehearse that with the?
No, I didn't rehearse anything, bro. It's just like the whole Jujutsu Kaisen thing is just like when you have a series that it's almost I would kind of relate it to the way Attack on Titan kind of the world building in it. It's like narrative first almost, and with Jujutsu Kaisen, like I'm getting that now. Like this is obviously thought out, and if it wasn't thought out, then man, this guy's a good bullshitter. But man, it feels like this was very, very, very precisely thought out, and the crumbs were there.
Yeah, I mean the first chapters, you know, when he goes up against his teacher in that battle of sporting like events, you know, the coach, whatever he was, wanted him to run track or something along those lines,
right?
And he's like, if I beat you, like, he's like, I won't be on the team or whatever. And the coach is like, well, if I beat you, you'll be a track member. And then you see like shot put, like Yuji, he like throws the ball like further than the Olympic record, and like all the kids are like, what in the hell? Like you see these little glimpses at there's some like weird strength hidden inside of him. And I mean, when you do your TED talk on that you just gave us, like that all lines up. It all makes sense.
Now I obviously didn't connect the dots myself. This was definitely, like I mentioned, like the fandom of Jujutsu Kaisen. This is kind of where everyone is putting their money at, and I'm assuming now more than ever with the most recent chapter, especially with the panda mentioning Toto, that's pretty much where we're at here. I need to jump back into that, and I'll be excited to kind of see that discussion take place. Now, bear in mind that what I just spewed out was just merely of like the first three to 4 panels in here of this chapter. We actually got so much more information taking place, and this is all why a big battle is happening right now. You know, we do have I forget her name, but she's obviously a follower of Sakuna, and also an ally of Geto, right? This is the girl who apparently, I think this is, unless I'm not remembering correctly, but this is the first time I've seen an iced curse technique take place within the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, to which the Kamo, what was his name? Kamo no Shitori? Kamo no
Who's the one with the bangs?
No, this is the guy. So much happened these last 2 chapters. It's kind of crazy. So we'll just leave that. We'll talk about the ice later, right? Anyway, somebody says a curse technique of ice ? And of this high of level. So this presumes to me that this person, this ally of both Geto and Sakuna, is a very powerful demon, and it makes me wonder if this is like a demon that has lived from like the golden age of Jujutsu sorcery, which is when Sakuna was in his prime, right? And so now that also you get to kind of like a loose connection would be if this devout follower of Sakuna is helping Geto, is the grand scheme. We understood like Geto's whole thing was like, you know, okay, or Geto, someone's calling him the brain guy. The brain within Geto was like, we got to get Sakuna, blah, blah, blah. It's like, have they been, Sakuna and Geto have been in league since the beginning of this whole series? And that's not all. And we get this fight, blah, blah, blah. Ice is going on. Ice falls, she's about to murk them all, right? This lady's about to murk them all. But who else would come in to save the day than the mentor of not only Toto, but Geto? And to which she asks him, what kind of girls are you into? Yuki Tsukumo. is making her debut of the modern day Jujutsu Kaisen series right now.
Yeah, that was cool. Just the fact that she's the mentor of our boy Toto, and you see that question she asks, like it's one he asks like everyone he meets, as we learned, in past chapters. And I always like when you see like the mentor. You see it with Itadori and Gojo. They're like similar, and it's probably like a reason why they take these students under their wing. And so you see that with her and Toto. So I'm assuming she's just gonna wreck shit because our boy Toto, that's his forte.
Yes. And piggybacking off that, I don't think we covered this last week. If we did, I don't remember. But the person I was mentioning is Nori Toshikamo. This is the brain that is currently inhibiting the body of Geto, to which Geto says, that is one name that I've gone by. So this brain also would support the theory that currently this chick who is a support of Sukuna and this brain is actually also part of the golden age of Jujutsu sorcery, in that although he was Nori Tashikomo, the most notorious Jujutsu sorcerer of them all, he was probably somebody else because he inhibited that person as well. So this brain, obviously is not to be toyed with.
It's like a parasite.
Yeah, if these two people currently on the field go back to the golden age, so like there's so much happening right now in terms of like juicy lore that it is hard to keep up on without going back and reflecting, because you can miss stuff.
Yeah, and so just reading through it, like it, we're reading weekly, and so there's a lot of time between chapters, but I feel like we are like glossing over the fact that Itadori, he's still fighting, but he's been through how many boss fights in a row? Like,
dude,
first he fought the blood
he almost killed him.
Then he fought Patchwork.
Oh, Mahito.
And now he's going up against Gito. Like, there's been three bosses in a row, and he's still going. He's still got like the determination, and like that kind of like, just when I think about it, it puts like emphasis on how big this whole conflict is. This is like a major like storyline in this overarching story. Like, of course it's the current story, so it's easy to say that, but I feel like looking back on however long the run is, like this is gonna be one of the ones people talk about as like one of their favorites.
Yeah,
just for like the level of like story details, and
a lot of things were answered.
Plus,
and the theory crafting is something that everybody loves to take part in, and I feel like this is just like the golden nuggets.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait for next week, man. I'm on the edge right here, to be honest with you.